Are you okay?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're mapping out the timeline of 28 days later and 28 weeks later, leading into 28 years later. Major spoilers for those first two films. The world was changed one fateful day when a group of the Animal Freedom Front broke into a Cambridge laboratory where chimpanzees were being experimented on.
God. Keep your shit together if you want to get them out of here.
As barbaric as these conditions appeared, the chimps were in captivity for a reason. They were all infected with the newly created rage virus.
The chimps are infected. They're highly contagious.
Even after a scientist relays this information, the activists unleash a chimp along with this highly contagious disease. Within seconds of being attacked, one of the activists is sent into a mindless rage. Simply being exposed to a carrier's blood or saliva is enough for the virus to take its toll. It isn't long until everyone else in the lab is infected, with the virus spreading across Great Britain in under 28 days. The 8th day officially saw the infection spawn an epidemic.
It started as rioting, and right from the beginning you knew this was different.
Then Prime Minister Tony Blair would declare a state of emergency, while the military was given the order of shoot to kill. On day 15, a mass evacuation from mainland Britain was ordered, although panic was about as easily contained as the virus. As government checkpoints were overrun, roads were gridlocked, and chaos broke out at London airports. A refugee crisis loomed, with the United Nations building giant camps. Before TV and radio broadcasts ceased, reports suggested that Paris and New York had also been affected.
The army blockades were overrun, and that's when the exodus started.
The UK remained the hot zone, however. London fell by day 20, with millions infected, countless missing, and those who survived resorting to desperate measures.
Looking down, you couldn't tell which faces were infected and which weren't.
Among those desperate survivors was Donald Harris. As the outbreak commenced, Don and his wife Alice hunkered down in a house around London's borders. Don and Alice take solace in knowing that their 2 children are safe, having been out of the country when all hell broke loose.
Our children are safe, aren't they?
Totally, yeah.
Alice can't help but take pity on a child who shows up on their doorstep. Although the young boy doesn't have the rage virus, he inadvertently leads the infected to the house. The boarded-up windows can't keep the infected out, pursuing everyone inside. While Alice isn't willing to abandon the boy, Don is another story. Running for the hills and fleeing on a boat, Don leaves his wife and others he had broken bread with to perish. Meanwhile, in central London, bicycle courier Jim awakens from a coma at St. Thomas's Hospital.
Hello?
Jim can't find a doctor, nurse, or fellow patient in sight. Exiting the hospital, Jim discovers the city to be equally isolated, although not completely abandoned. The infected run rampant, but Jim encounters 2 survivors, Selena and Mark.
It's completely humorless. You two should get on like a house on fire.
The 3 make their way to Deptford, where Jim learns that his parents took their lives rather than allow the virus to change them. Selena doesn't take any chances when Mark is attacked later that night, beating him to death right then and there. Considering how quickly the virus takes its toll, there's no time to second-guess killing allies who have potentially been infected.
We have to leave now. More infected will be coming.
Heading to Balfron Tower, they meet cabbie Frank and his daughter Hannah.
This is my daughter, Hannah. Come on, sweetheart, say hello.
Based on a military radio broadcast, it appears safety and maybe even a cure await near Manchester. Alas, this turns out to be a red herring. Speaking of red, a single drop of the infected's blood seals Frank's fate before he's gunned down.
Stay away from him!
Although soldiers come to their rescue, they prove just as dangerous. The two-faced Major Henry West seeks to turn Selena and Hannah into sex slaves for his men as part of a depraved plot to repopulate a dying planet.
I moved us from the blockade, I set the radio broadcasting, and I promised them women. Because women mean a future.
The world isn't over yet, though, as evidenced by a jet that Jim spots from down below. Returning to save Selena and Hannah, Jim turns an infected soldier against the others. Before the 3 can make a getaway, West puts a bullet in Jim's gut.
You killed all my boys.
The disgraced soldier underestimates Hannah's driving skills as she sends him to his doom. Another 28 days later, Jim finds himself back where he started, awakening in bed following a crash. Selena and Hannah are with him in Cumbria, having located a remote house. The seemingly unstoppable infected have finally shown weakness, unable to thrive without fresh bodies to feast upon. The jet that Jim saw earlier wasn't a hallucination either, suggesting that salvation might be on the horizon.
Think you saw us this time.
Over the following weeks, more infected die of starvation, while American-led NATO forces arrive in London. Mainland Britain is declared infection-free, with reconstruction beginning. Unfortunately, this would not be the last outbreak. After 28 weeks, Tammy Harris and her younger brother Andy return to Britain, where refugees are gradually being reintroduced. Survivors are restricted to District 1 on the Isle of Dogs, as the rest of London is still overrun with bodies.
Although the Isle of Dogs is completely safe, the surrounding area of London is not.
There are also wild animals, although research suggests that the virus only affects primates. Tammy and Andy are reunited with their dad Don, who struggles to tell them how cowardly he behaved during their mother's final moments.
I tried to go back. She was already gone.
Well, turns out that Alice isn't quite dead yet. Sneaking to their old home, Andy and Tammy find their mother alive. Major Scarlett Levy determines that Alice is asymptomatic, perhaps providing a key to a cure. That said, Alice isn't immune. She's still infected and contagious.
Technically, she's not immune. She's a carrier.
In what's probably this franchise's dumbest decision, aside from, creating the virus, Don kisses his not very well-guarded wife. The rage instantly kicks in, driving Don to kill Alice as another outbreak commences. Scarlett saves Andy and Tammy, hoping they may also be asymptomatic like their mother. With the spread growing beyond control, General Stone deems everyone a target. Disregarding this order, Delta Force sniper Doyle decides to aid Scarlett and the kids along with a man named Sam Conway. As the Air Force bombs District 1, they flee to London with Don not far behind. Along the way, Sam is infected while trying to escape. Doyle is burned to death rescuing the others, and Scarlett dies at Don's hands. Don also bites Andy before Tammy puts their dad down for good. As Scarlett suspected, Andy is asymptomatic.
Am I one of them?
No.
The kids rendezvous with Doyle's contact Flynn, who agrees to fly them from a decaying London to France. What happens between then and the next 28 days is a little hazy, although Flynn's helicopter is last seen abandoned as someone on the radio calls out for help.
Need your help.
As an infected horde rushes toward the Eiffel Tower, it's confirmed that the virus has made it to Paris, with the rest of Europe vulnerable as well. It's unclear what happened to Tammy or Andy, although it's safe to assume they couldn't produce a cure. Otherwise, rage wouldn't still be plaguing Europe 28 years later. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Although the virus still rages on after 10,228 days, people continue to adapt. One group of survivors established a community on Lindisfarne, an island in Northumberland. Between this haven and the mainland is a lengthy causeway. Occasionally, small teams are required to leave the island.
No, I feel he's a bit young.
He's ready, Jen.
If anything goes wrong, don't expect a rescue party. Infected are not the only threat, as the virus has also given birth to a cult that likes to decorate with bones. The virus has evolved as well.
There are many kinds of death.
The infected not only appear stronger, but smarter, able to hide and creep up on victims. And no, that's not Jim. Will this epidemic ever end, or will we still be talking about the rage virus 28 decades later? Only time will tell.
This is a glorious day.
A day of judgment.
What's your favorite moment from the 28 Days Later series? Let us know in the comments.
There were so many dead.